All right. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're joining us from. Welcome to this edition of Emigrate's Open Day. We've been having these sessions for a while now. And so I'm sure some of us, this is in our first edition of the Open Day that you're joining us. So welcome for those of you joining us for the first time as well. Welcome. It promises to be informative. It promises to be inspiring. And our guest for tonight.
It all begins with the founders submitting a pitch that will be evaluated by a community.
Sorry about that, a little technical error. Welcome back for those joining us for not the first time. And for those joining us for the first time, welcome to Emigrate Open Day. It's a community. It's not just about the Open Day, but I will just share with us briefly what Emigrate is all about, what we've set out to do as a community. And then right after, I will yield the floor to our guest who will be sharing with us his experience as regards particularly the UK Global Talent Visa, but he will also be speaking about his journey so far. After that, we would open the floor for question and answers. I would advise that if you have questions, please pop them in the chat so that you don't forget. If there's something that occurs to you, something that you believe that you need to get answers to, pop it in the chat so that we can get to it as soon as possible. With that being said, good evening once more, or good afternoon, or good morning. Our guest for tonight will be Stephen Abiono. He's a unified communication consultant and is a UK global talent as well. What is Emigrate? Emigrate focuses on tech-enabled visa opportunities. Emigrate helps people to discover opportunities that are available to them, particularly in the UK, in the US, in Canada, in France, and several other countries where they are looking for globally attractive individuals who they want to come into their economy to add.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Sorry about that. I got disconnected just now. If you can hear me, just pop in the chat that you can hear me. Also, if you can see my screen, please pop in the chat that you can hear me and that you can see my screen. If you can hear me, please do that so we make sure that we're still on. Fantastic. And see screen. Fantastic. I see your chat. Thank you, everyone. And so I was just talking about the fact what Emigrate is seeking to do is to build a community around people who are interested in showing themselves as globally attractive. We've been doing this for a while in terms of the open days, and we've had several guests that different countries of the world have nominated and have said that these people are globally attractive. They are highly sought after. Some of them you can see on the screen, and this is not an exhaustive list. We would advise that if there are specific countries that you're interested in, please go back, watch some of these videos, because they gave specific gems of knowledge from their experience, and also they spoke about candidly about what their journey was, how easy it was, and so on as well. For many people, we sometimes think that when you hear the word, oh, global talent, or you're thinking, oh, you need to have won a Nobel Prize or something like that. That's not true. Many of these countries realize that, particularly in tech, that they need talent. So if you're a developer, you're a project manager, and so on, and you are able to qualify based on specific criteria, then they are looking for you. Some of these countries are countries that have one startup visa, entrepreneurial visa, or a tech-enabled visa, or one or the other. For example, in Canada, there's something called the Canada Startup Visa that many people are not quite aware of. In the UK, there's the Global Talent Visa, there's the Innovator Visa, and several others along that line. In the US, there's the EB1, and also there's the O1 plus EB2 as well. Every one of these visa types I've mentioned have a pathway to settlement. And for Emigrate, we are very, very biased towards the different visa opportunities that specifically have a pathway to settlement. There are a few other visa types that are coming up. For example, it's possible that the UK student route, graduate route for the UK in the future may end up having a pathway to settlement. It's being debated at the moment by the UK House of Assembly, their parliament, but that hasn't yet been confirmed. The key point here is that there are several of these opportunities. The question is, are you aware of these opportunities? Are you aware of the ones that you would qualify for? Are you aware of the ones that the countries that you are interested in are put together? Do you know what the requirements are? Are you already preparing your profile for those requirements? And if you already qualify today, are you preparing to apply if this is a pathway for you? In addition, many of these visa types, they always make changes from time to time. For example, the UK always does at least one change every year in terms of the pathway. And so this edition, we did mention that we'll be talking about some of those changes that has happened recently to the Tech Nation visa. So the Tech Nation visa is the UK Global Talent Visa for the field of digital technology. There are several other global talent visas for the UK. So they are for fashion, they are for engineering, they are for different career types. But the one we are focused on is the one for digital technology. And that one has an endorsing body called Tech Nation. That's the only endorsing body as of today. And that's the reason why it's also called the Tech Nation visa at this point. One of the changes that has happened is that Tech Nation has made it clearer the fact that, number one, that if you're a technical applicant working for a non-technical organization, you are eligible. So a lot of people have this misconception that, oh, as a technical person, I need to be working for a startup for me to become eligible for this particular visa type. That has been made clearer to say that that is not the case. Number two is that if you're a non-technical applicant, so one of the business roles, project management, digital marketing, and you are doing that for a technical organization, so a startup, a tech company, and so on, you are eligible to apply. And then, of course, the third one is to say if a non-technical applicant working for a non-technical organization, then of course you are not eligible. This has been made clearer as we and this is also in public domain anyway. Another change is around conferences. And one of the criteria for the Tech Nation visa is around the fact that you need to show a proof of recognition of what you are doing, or a proof of recognition of your work. And one of the ways to show that is to show conferences that you have attended and spoken at. They made it clearer that when you say you've spoken at a conference, that conference must have more than 100 attendees. And so it can't be that, oh, you had 100 people registered in the conference. It has to be that over 100 attendees attended that conference, and it needs to have been regarded as a sector leading event for your field. And there are many ways for you to be able to show that, and many events in Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, and so on, where you can actually speak at that qualifies at that level. It's also been made clearer that mentoring at a university or a single startup is not sufficient. So you can't say, oh, I mentored one specific startup, and then that's sufficient for me to be able to show I have recognition in my field. What they are looking for is you showing a track record. And if that is the case, it would not be sufficient for you to say, oh, okay, I only mentored one particular startup or the other. And there are a few other changes here and there. And I would just advise for those of us interested in this specific visa type to please take a look at that TechNation visa guideline page, just to make sure you have updated yourself with the latest criteria. So you are not trying to submit criteria for continuous education, which is something that was removed from the list as at December 2020. So you don't want to be preparing your profile based on criteria that no longer exist. Something exciting again for Exceptional Promise is that they've made it clearer that you only need to show one example of innovation moving forward, not two. So if you remember, this page a couple of months ago would say 2 examples, but now they've made it clearer that what you need is just one example of innovation in the field. What this means is that it's slightly easier now to qualify than it was maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. But the question is, do you already qualify? Do you know what you need to do to qualify? And so on. I spent more time than I wanted to on this section, so I'll just speak about some of our services at Emigrate. At Emigrate, we do a lot of things for free, and and some of those things is information and inspiration. We also host an Emigrate community, which is a free community of like-minded people such as yourself who are interested in some of these visa pathways. We also host the monthly open day. We do 2 open days at the moment. And next month, we will be speaking with somebody, a techie that has relocated and settled his family in Germany, a developer. And please don't miss that. That will be the first Wednesday in November. And then we would also be having another edition on the 3rd Wednesday in November as well. We also have introductory videos. We also have the Emigrate Open Consultation that we do from time to time, though the format of the Open Consultation will be changing soon, and we may be speaking about that if we do have time during this event today. We also have the short inquiry session where you can, within a 10-minute period, you can book a short inquiry session if you have specific questions. What we advise, however, is please do not book that inquiry session if you have not done your own personal research. So don't come to that session asking what is Emigrate, what are you trying to do, and ask questions that we have already answered on some of these open days, or questions that you could easily have Googled. Come asking questions around things that is not clear to you and things that will be beneficial to you, not things that you could simply have just read up on by yourself. We are limited to 1 free short inquiry session per person at this point. And so please make the best use of it when it is time and when you believe you do need it. In addition, we do have some premium services as well, including a premium community called the Emigrate Circle. And we also have the Emigrate Premium services as well. Services cover things like general inquiry, coaching and handholding. If you need some sort of self-directed roadmap for whether or not you qualify, our services cover that. If you need to assess whether or not you currently qualify and can apply immediately, our services covers that as well. And if you need a roadmap to say, oh, I want to apply in 2 years' time, or in 1 year, or in 6 months, and what are the things I should be doing now for me to be able to qualify, our services covers those kind of things as well. If you need to submit your application and you need help packaging your application, because some people get rejected, not because they don't qualify, but because they did not submit the application in the way that it is expected of them. They didn't package themselves well. They didn't brand themselves well. Our service covers that. And if you need to do an endorsement review, particularly around the Technation visa, our service covers that as well. Emigrate is hosted by a company called Bincom Dev Center. And within Bincom Dev Center, we do have other services as well. One of them is the Bincom Global Tech Program. It's a program that helps people to learn skills, gain experience, and gain exposure in the field of technology. So if you're trying to get into the field of technology and you're an absolute beginner and you need help getting into that field, the Bincom Global Tech Program is available for you. If you are already in the field of technology as well and you realize that you lack the right experience and exposure for you to be able to get to the next level, this program also is available to you. The Bincom Global Tech Program costs 1.2 million naira. However, the company also has something called the income sharing agreement, where the company would invest in you, and the point when you start making payment will be when you start earning a high salary in the field of technology. And so that is available. And Emigrate Premium, which is one of our premium services, is actually incorporated into this program. We also have the Bincom mentoring platform. So for some of us who are experts in the field, and mentoring is one of the ways where you can show yourself as globally attractive. But if you want to mentor, you need to mentor on a formal platform. I've mentioned to you how it's also been clarified that you can't just mentor one startup and say that that qualifies me. Instead, you need to be able to show that you do that consistently and you have a track record of mentoring. And for that as well, you can use the Bincom mentoring platform as well. So I'll yield the floor now to our guests. Thank you so much, sir, for honoring us and honoring the community. We are welcome to this edition of Emigrate Open Day. Thank you for sharing with us. And I know you'll be sharing your experience. You'll be sharing some wisdom, thoughts, and to the community. And so welcome, sir. I'll stop sharing screen now and then yield the floor to our guest, Stephen Abiono. You're welcome.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for such a wholesome introduction and setting the stage. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah. I can hear you loud and clear.
Thanks, guys, for having me. I initially was putting a slide deck together, but I suppose that it will be good for us to have more interaction than running through slide decks so that I can make this more interactive in the best way we can. And sorry, I do not intend to speak like any of these are English guys. If you think sometimes I use whatever, it's not intentional, just to set the stage. Again, thanks for having me. I mean, Buddy, I've said a lot of things around the Technation visa. So I'm going to restrict myself to just making sure that you hear my story and how I made it and how it's been in terms of the journey. Again, there are so many of them out there, but the Technation visa, Tier 1 Exceptional Talent visa, has been particularly a good one for Nigerians. A whole lot of Nigerians has been able to make it through, and I'm happy to be one of them. So let's start by me telling you about myself. I heard Buddy was talking about the criteria and sort of the things that have changed and profiling generally. I came from a more technical background because I've been in IT for sort of about 10 years before I went into Technation. But again, I was working in the bank. So it wasn't as if I was working in any of the tech companies where you can actually talk about loads of experience. I started out as a network engineer in then Oceanic Bank, before Oceanic Bank merged or was bought over by, if you stay by EcoBank. If you stay close to that story, you know all of that. So I was part of the people that were very quite lucky to move over. And then when I moved over to EcoBank, I sort of moved from just being a network guy that plugged the cables together or put the IP addresses together to more fluid, for me at the time, more fluid experience, which is unified communications. That's where we call it voice at the time, but now unified com. And in my experience, I was basically looking for more at the time. Again, as you know, with the startup, with the status of things in Nigeria, I wasn't getting promoted. I was looking for more experience. I used to work with a lot of guys in Cisco at the time because unified comms or voice was getting a big thing. So I was into contact center, building contact center scripts, doing a lot of things about customer journey and looking at, those are the kind of flair I've got and the experience I've got at the time. And in my query to wanting to move on was when I heard about exceptional talent. Now, it was quite new at the time because I think Tier 1 exceptional talent started in 2014. I got endorsed in 2017. I knew about it in 2016, shortly after one of my friends who has been a guest on this platform as well had told me about it because I kept moaning about wanting to expand more. And he was saying to me that with your experience, you don't have to be bothered. So when I heard about exceptional talent, I said, no, that's not going to be me. I mean, I work in the bank. And if you look at that exceptional talent, you think about guys who stays more close to the product itself or to the platform. I work with a lot of Cisco products. So I felt if you're talking about exceptional talent, you talk about the Cisco guys who travel in and out of the country, got a lot of experience. And he asked just two questions. How many years have you put in? I said, it's going to be about 8 years now. And you touch the platform, you are confident enough to talk about some of your experiences. That's all you need, man. And I said, okay, yeah, I will give it a go. And I think that was October 2016. I delayed a bit till November just to gather confidence. Because at the time I was thinking it couldn't have been true that I've got a platform here, owing to the fact that we usually have consultants deploying and, it's a customer relationship that I maintain for the bank. But yeah, of course, I've got my hands on. So yeah, the first thing I did was I had to read through, just like what Paddy is doing for us today. It took me on a journey together to read through what the criteria are, how all of this can put together. So in December 2016, I made up my mind that I was going to give it a shot. And the first thing I did was I read about everything and the criteria and how they want us to go about it. I then decided on how I want to do it. This were, how do you want to get your references across board? What kind of letter? How do you want to profile yourself? What are the things? These are the immediate challenges that you're going to be faced with, which I was faced with at the time. And when I got my reading right, the first thing I did was for each of the criteria, for each of the ask or the criteria I was going to use, for profiling, I make sure that I have 3. For instance, if they were talking about references, it was supposed to be 2 references. I had to get at least 3 references so that I can give myself some backup in case I take it through some of the friends that within my community or my stake then, and they say, no, this is what. So I make sure that I have backups. And I think one of the main things there is I decided to look at how best this can go through that. When someone is reading through my experiences and what I've got to offer, they can link my story with my experience, in that kind of way. So it was the first thing that I had to do. And January 2017, I put together almost about 15 evidences and documents, and some of those were reference letters. Of course, I got letters from where I work. I got letters from some of the friends that know some of my work and that I've worked with. And I sort of pile all of that together and start working through essentially how I want to approach this, that it will make a lot of sense. And by February 2017, I was ready to go. At the time, it was 100 per 6 months. So the cap was they were going to offer 200 exceptional talent visa to 200 people across the world. And you kind of look at yourself that, how do you want to go through this? It's going to be interesting. So, well, here I am. As of February, it was going to be the first quarter. So what we then to do then is we look at the first 6 months towards that December. You don't want to put in, because every other part of the world, everybody is doing it. And the graph at that time was the guys from the States, from Israel and from India were a lot on the top end of the graph. And then we're having some good Nigerians, some of the guys, essentially for talent, guys were already getting it at that time. Another problem then was that we were always thinking that it's going to be for programmers. But look, it's exceptional talent. As long as you can prove your worth, these guys don't care. The market is there. They want people to come in. And that was the catch that we were not really exploring at the time. The February ending, I put in all of my requests. I sent it to the Home Office, because it's 2 stages, as you probably have known now. You have to be endorsed by technicians. So I sent my documents to Home Office to send it to the technicians, which is the approach anyway. And you have to wait so the response takes about 2 to a month. I was quite curious, being coming from the background that you're thinking it's like a trial and error. You couldn't just get deflated if you don't get it. So my mind was, I'm just trying this out. If I don't get it, it doesn't matter. For just 7 days, about 8 days later, I just got a mail. I couldn't even open that email from Home Office. It was like, you saw a mail came through and you just didn't think, for them to have responded this fast, it couldn't have been that they consider me. And I was, with that kind of emotional rush, I was reading the email. I couldn't even read through everything. The only part I want to see is, yes, you've been endorsed, or no, you've been rejected. And it was a shock that these guys, said, read through all of your documents. We feel that you are fit into this. And that was the start of the joy. I can't tell you how happy I was at the time, because with the talent visa, what it gives you is probably the best that you can get in the UK at the minute. Probably the best. The law here says that you have to have lived 5 years before you can get your settlement. With the talent visa, you only need 3 years. Yeah, especially when you come in with exceptional talents. Those are the things that you probably need to get yourself familiar with, because it's different from promise. But with exceptional talent, you get your 3 years. After 3 years, you go back to Home Office, you tell them to give you your settlement, and you can get a British passport. That's the best that you can ever get in the UK. I don't know of any other route at the minute. In addition to that, you are able to access everything like anybody, and do any kind of work. There's no restriction to what you can do. There is no restriction to how you can live. There's absolutely, you can go as far as investing, starting your own company. You can bring anyone just under the age of 18 to the UK. It was the best that you can have, and because that has worked, yeah, they decided to open up the cap. I don't think it's no longer 200 anymore. it's unlimited space, because of course there is a growing demand for techie people. Having said that, one other thing that I would like to quickly, state again is that, except for sports, if you're coming in for sports like football or to coach, it's not covered under that route, and because they've got a different route for that. And if you're coming as a doctor, definitely, I believe the audience here is not within that route, because this is mainly for the techies. I can't speak loud, better than to say to you that is a good route. It's something to desire. Is it doable? Yes, I think that's one of what my story reflected. I'm like any other person out there where you think you've put in just less amount of experience, and how do you want to go about this? What I can always encourage is that it's doable, and you have to have that confidence that you can actually do it. In terms of getting yourself ready to put in for it, every training counts, every experience counts. And to be honest with you, it has nothing to do specifically with how many tech companies that you've run or you've opened, or what more of conferences and all that. The first thing to really consider is what is your experience? What kind of experience have you got within the techie space that you can broadly speak about, that you can tell? Just practice telling someone like Buddy, or within the community, what your experience are, and let them be able to profile you well. As long as you can profile yourself with your experience, it's doable, absolutely doable for anyone at all. I mean, in recent time, we've seen cross-functional Nigerians coming in. Even some of the roles that we thought when we came in were absolutely slated for the English guys. Things like CTO. We've seen guys coming in and becoming CTO. I mean, Buddy can testify to that. When we came in, we thought that you cannot get this. You can't get this if you want to come and be a product owner. I've just had a friend that came in. Was a product owner with the Bank of the North or something, and he was just managing portfolio. He was able to get the route because he was able to put together his experiences, profile himself properly, and they could see benefits in him coming in. They gave him the visa. He's here now with his family, and he got a job. And now, in terms of getting a job as well, I got a job before I left Nigeria. That's how good it is, to be honest. I put in my as soon as I got that visa, even before I started applying for the proper visa to travel, I started profiling myself, put myself out there for jobs, and I got called in for interview. Again, it's one of those things that is doable. The other thing I would advise is that don't do it on your own. You probably need someone to help take you through, check your document, be sure you are aligning yourself properly. That's where the experience comes in. I would recommend a coach if you can, but definitely I would recommend that you partner with someone to check your document, especially someone that's got the experience, just to take you through all of the details and be sure that you are adequately putting things in the right perspective. One other thing I would like to touch base with in terms of the endorsements, if you look at the rate at which this endorsement is going right now, if you take 4 citizens of the world, it will be the states, probably between Israel and Indian guys, because they sort of compete with us in that space as well. The third on the list will be Nigerians, absolutely. And these guys, I've seen consistency in Nigerians' delivery. I've been here for for 5 years, going to about 5 years now. And I can tell you that I've worked across multiple industry in the space of 5 years. And I've met quite a number of people. We do well a lot in terms of delivery. And our guys are absolutely on point with, bringing their experience and doing well here. So it's an encouragement for any Nigerians to consider this as an opportunity to A, take your career forward, B, give yourself, if you like to, give yourself an opportunity to live in another world of or wealth of expanding technology. You get that in Europe and across many other places where Buddy has mentioned. The last thing I was going to want to talk about, if I'm still on time.
Yes, you're still on time. Please go ahead, sir.
All right, okay. Okay, so sorry guys, I did prepare a slide, but I just thought that it would be more interactive if I go through this way. One thing that Buddy talked about, which I would like to sort of also stress or make sure that you guys get correctly, is the fact that you have to keep at ensuring that all of the changes that are happening, you keep in touch with it. There are several of the opportunities. I mean, you already touched about the fact that some talent or global talent in the States, in Germany and all that. But if you considering the one in the UK, which is the one I did, and that's where I'm sharing my experience with you, in terms of what I went through and how I got it, you have to keep updated. You have to keep yourself updated with the changes around that area, and don't overblow. I would say don't exaggerate in what you're doing, such that there isn't any some form of doubt. But you definitely need to be able to profile yourself, properly, as it were. What else do I want to talk about? I've talked about my experience. I've talked about how I went through it and I got in 2017. And I've talked about ensuring that you know how you want to approach this. When I did it, it was 10 documents that you have to put together. I did about 15, and then make sure that I put the best out of it. At this point, I would like to stop and see if you've got any questions at all, and so we can make it a bit interactive. I don't want it to be a monologue kind of conversation at all. That's why I didn't share my deck with the community. Just wanted to make sure that we can talk through, ask your questions, see what we can spotlight together, and then we'll take it up from there. If that makes any sense, Mr. Badi.
It does make a lot of sense, and we've a lot of questions are already being popped into the chat. I was also taking down some questions from what you were talking about, and then also we had questions from the community when they found out that you were the one coming to share today. So we'll try and squeeze in as much of it as possible into this time. I'm hoping the 20 minutes will be enough, but hopefully we can extend a little longer if necessary. So you've spoken about the journey, and I think maybe one of the things to just we would like you to just stress, particularly for the people who are beginners, is the route of your unified communications expert. What does that look like from a beginner, 0 years experience in technology, or people that are currently doing network cabling and things like that, and that they are trying to upskill themselves into the modern tech world? What does that look like specifically in terms of the journey and in terms of the skill, and then are there roles in that industry? Because we understand that in terms of the visa itself is not an end by itself, because you still need to earn income on the other side when you do move to your new country or your host country and so on. So what are your thoughts around that, sir?
Yeah, very quickly, I would say to you guys that when I was coming in, I thought that unified communication is one of the least profile jobs that you cannot come in here. As a matter of fact, there are quite a number of people that were telling me that you may have to change your job. But again, it's not so true. One thing to note, though, is that the job profile across Europe and developed world is changing rapidly. At the back of the pandemic, 10 years was accelerated into just 1 year. And that is where, again, we began to see that unified communication, something like voice and unified communication began to blow up in a new way. Everybody wants to have teams now, and everybody wants to be able to integrate teams with your normal plastic on-prem services. I was very, very skilled in Cisco products, but I moved quickly in just the space of about 6 months into cloud, and cloud as it fits into unified comms. And that's exactly how I said it is with network as well. If you are skilled in network, start looking at ACI, application-centric infrastructure. That's what because that's what Cisco is selling now. Cisco seems to wanting to come into cloud space as well, but they are sort of behind time in terms of the acceleration. So what they've done is that they go into ACI. You can go check it out so that I don't waste time talking about ACI. And then if you're looking at communication, like what I did before, I was going to change my career, but I'd sort of bed in completely that I can actually take this forward into cloud as well. So, start looking at things like Teams, Office 365, WebEx, WebEx One, WebEx Contact Center, Connect, and everything that has to do with cloud, because again, that space has moved into managed service. So I have just suddenly moved into consulting, and they pay us well, consulting, even rather than working for an organization. I hope that makes a lot of sense to the audience. Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does a lot. You spoke about recommenders, and I wanted to ask, who were your recommenders? I mean, you don't have to mention names, but particularly around, did you have to build relationships before, and did those relationships come in useful, particularly for the community at this point? Who were your recommenders? How did you get them? How did you convince them to recommend you, and all of that?
Yeah, thanks for that, buddy. Let's to say that, look, everything about the world that we live here, and that's I'm quite sure, because we've got friends around in the States and in Canada. It's information. Say, look, the more you are informed in this particular country that we are in at the minute, the better you are. So there's absolutely no room for isolation at all. You have to be in the community. You've got to have your community updating you. At the time, every single person that I know that were endorsed as between 2016 and 2015, 2016 were my base. I was touching base with almost everybody. As at that time, we haven't got a lot of Nigerians that were, doing what the community is doing at the minute. But again, what we found out is that the Indians, the Asians, don't joke with their community. They don't joke with it, and so they build a base that makes sure that every single person that needs to know every details is there. There's no isolation at all. So I didn't get there. I didn't get I would have even been endorsed if I didn't get any. I was practically handheld throughout the process to get the endorsement. So everyone that had done it at that time were the bedrock for me getting it. And I can't stress the fact that you need every help that you can get.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Jumping into the chat box, we have 2 people less than 1 year experience, and they're asking that one is asking just transitioning career into data analytics with 1 year experience. Is this doable for me? Someone else is asking that, is it open to those with less than a year's experience? I believe they're speaking around exceptional promise. So what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of promise. Let me just say this: the first set of guys that got exception this route, not the talent, the tier 1, which is the main umbrella where you have talent and promise. were guys from that Oyedepo University, Covenant University. It was right from school. These guys were quite, and one of them runs a company here that is a toothbrush company at the time for about a year. And I think the guy, and to let you know, UK actually invested. There's a part of Tech Nation that is, Tech City, which is they develop or support startup. And the guy came in, not so much experience, went into some sort of research, put his document together, he got some startup funding, and he's doing absolutely well, even more than the people that are coming here to come and look for a job. So he has no bearing at all. Have confidence in, make sure that you're doing a good research on data analytics or how that is, fit into what the current, because a lot of things are going cloud now. So see how you can tailor that into cloud or friends, and ensure that you get a good community that can profile you properly. It has nothing to do with experience, because with promise, once you can tell yourself these guys are ready to invest in you. So absolutely encourage everyone that wants to do that, even if you haven't got more than a year experience, to push forward.
Yeah, I have a few questions here around the Emigrate community, and so I'll just answer that one. Someone is asking what opportunity of assistance for preparation are open to me if I want to take up this application. I mentioned these at the beginning, and I think I'm going to share that slide again towards the end of this. What we've tried to build with the Emigrate community is to be able to share information, inspiration, and also hand-holding, which basically coaching as well. It could be up to a 2-year journey in some cases. It could be a 1-year journey, and in some cases you already qualify and you just need to put in your application. So it would depend on what exactly that you need, and a lot of this is for free. But as we increasingly are bringing in consultants and all of that, that would have to also be paid as well. So we do have premium services, but we do have a lot that is available for free as well. What I usually would advise is take advantage of all of those things available for free, first of all, because for most people, that's what you first of all need, right? To be informed on what is available. Read all the information that you can find on the internet. Just consume as much of it as possible, and then you can take it from there as well. There are questions there around what opportunities are there for cybersecurity skills, and then someone else is asking around project management as well. So I think these are asking around the different fields of IT, and I guess maybe the field that they are currently in specifically. So cybersecurity, project management, what opportunities are there?
Yeah, this is why I didn't share my slides, because I actually tried to list out some of the current field of interest within the UK, and probably haven't had interactions with guys across the world as well. But again, let me first and foremost put this as a platform. Nigeria is top notch when it comes to technology. When it comes to fintech, some of our guys have done so well in building that we are seeing the export of that here. Now, when it comes to cybersecurity, that's one of the best selling. I don't know. Apparently, so that I don't over exaggerate the cybersecurity. It's a go-to technology at the minute. If you've got that skill, please put in efforts to go for this. That's what I would say. For project management, one of the things that we've seen again is a lot of our guys, because in Nigeria, we sort of adopt the methodology, PMP methodology. Here in the UK, the methodology or the approach is Prince 2, and that could come as a disparate kind of experience. But I can tell you for free, I have seen a lot of our guys, including my own missus, who was an architect, came in here, got the right training, and she's doing well with Pierre. As part of the first job that she got, she actually worked with the Home Office to manage the project, and lots of that. So I think it will be more relevant when I put my experience there for you. The good thing here is that the market is open for everybody as soon as you can do the hard work of ensuring that you put your best in, you get the right training in, and we have guys here who can train that Nigerians here who train you to be the best of PM and package your CV for you to make sure, and I'm sure Buddy can always point you in that direction as well, because that's what the community is there for. But yeah, PM, sure. Absolutely, thumb up for that as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Somebody is asking around imposter syndrome, saying that they're saying exceptional talent, and I don't think it's me. How did you handle that in your own case around imposter syndrome?
Well, so you know that could be relative in many ways. If I want to get the actual and thinking of this question is, can I be an exceptional talent? And that was my first challenge. You need all the confidence that you have to. And by the way, we've seen guys who probably submit their applications, got denied, and they kept at it and they got it. Sometimes 3-4 times. I can give you experiences of guys there. We've had people who did it 3-4 times. The first thing that you need to know is it's about 4,000. The opportunity. I think they're taking about 4,000, more than about 4,000 people in at the minute. Yeah. I can be one of them. That's one of the first things that you need to know. And when they say exceptional talent, that doesn't mean that you have become an exceptional talent. But if you can show that you have the drive to become exceptional, which should be a good exercise for everybody anyway. You want to be the best that you can within your capacity and within what you are doing. So it has nothing to do with imposter. It has much to do with your confidence, capacity, and ability to push yourself. I will tell you for free. I am going through as a unified specialist. I've added cloud offerings to my work portfolio, and I haven't got any clue or any experience at the minute. But I've set a target for a year to come up to speed with that. That's kind of the spirit that you have to know that this is an opportunity. If you really want to go for this, there's absolutely nothing stopping you to press forward. I would say I can't stress that enough.
Mm. So someone's asking that, is there an appropriate time of the year to apply? Not anymore. But you want to speak to that. So there was the generation where there was only 200 endorsement, then 400. But maybe you want to speak a bit about that, sir.
Yes, yeah. When initially it was even for the UK, and you need to understand how this works, guys, as well. The global talent, as they call it now, then was an exceptional talent. It was a competition between the States and the UK. If you have ever heard about Silicon Valley, there were a lot of Nigerians that took advantage of Silicon Valley to go to the States, but you have to be in the United States or something at the time. And then the UK felt that, oh wow, these guys are attracting the best talent across the world, across the continent, bringing them to the States to develop the economy in the States. So they wanted to have something like that. That was the initial thought around starting exceptional talent. So they started with we're going to offer 200 space. Let's see how this economy. But these countries are built, the might of these countries are built at the back of the commitment that people like you, like me, comes in here to work and build the country, because they put the opportunity there. They pay good money as well. I can tell you for that for free as well. So when it comes to any time of the year, it used to be 200, 6 months, 800, and that was the time that we did it. And we got it. So now that it's quite open and you can do it at any time in the year, I don't know what could stop anyone for giving it a try, honestly.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that to say what you really should do is go check the requirements. It's in public domain. There's a whole website. It's a very long read. It may take you up to an hour to read it, but invest your time and read through that requirement. And then you can go back again and start taking a look to say, okay, fine, these are the things they're asking for. They said that I need to show recognition. And then they list out maybe 10, 20 different options of how you can show recognition. This is how I can show innovation. They list out many options of how you can do that. And then you can introspect and say, oh, fine, which one of these do I already have? Which one of these don't I yet have, but I can quickly get, right? I can set a plan for myself, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, even maybe 2 years, right? Because we do have a program within Bincom where within a 2-year space, 1 to 2 years, really, you would qualify if you're able to do all the things that you are supposed to do at every point in time. It's a very intense program called the Bincom Global Tech Program. I mentioned it earlier, but you can also do that. And as he mentioned, also don't walk this journey alone. And I think that's one of the lessons that I learned from your story. And I think is a lesson that many of us should take away from this session as well. I have 16 years experience in hardware infrastructure. Servers, I think you've answered this already. How can I do this, please? I think this has already been answered. You can just watch the video again because we're running out of time. Sir, can we have an extra 10, 15 minutes? Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely, sir. Yeah, okay, very well.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That question has already been answered already. What backup document is required of a software developer to be considered? So I think this question is just around criteria, and probably this person hasn't read the criteria on the technician side, but could you speak a bit about that, sir? About the criteria that is required, particularly for a software developer?
Yeah, I mean, let me add to what you started out with, guys. To do this, you have to go read those. The good thing about the UKV is when you go into their site to look at the requirements, it's absolutely documented for you to be able to go through and have the idea and how you want to approach this. Now, in terms of the criteria, to be honest with you, the first thing is how do I want to approach this would always be the first approach. What do I think would profile me properly? Will always be there. So if I'm a software engineer, I want to talk about some of the bespoke software that I've written, for instance, or if I've worked with a company where I've had experience around development or doing some software or the first thing that you want to do is, if I want to talk about this to Mr. Bade or to me, how would I talk about it? That I have this experience for 16 years, and this is what I've been able to do. If you can answer that question, every other thing that you need to do to back it up is the answer, honestly. If you answer that question, once you have the answer, you find out that you can answer. So I'll quickly give you an example. One of the criteria I had to submit is showcasing that I wrote a script, a contact center script. So many of you must have ring into any contact center where you press 0, press 1. Those those are integrated into certain component, and there's a way you put all of those, collect those digits and all that. And I needed to showcase that I have written that. Have I written that end to end at the time? No. Have I been part of projects that did that? Yes. So what I did was to understand that end to end, even though I have not been part of it. And I deliberately focus on the parts that I've done. And it's English anyway, so you have to be able to write it properly. And that's where you need every help that you can get to make sure that you get your talks right. And I put in, and I got one of the projects that I was part of. I put my name there, and I wrote exactly how this project was executed and what was my contribution in there. And I was able to laud my contribution such that even if I give you that note today, you probably say that, oh yeah, this guy must have the kind of experience. It's all about profiling. It's about how best you can put that across. Not even about how many numbers of documents you need to put. It's how you are able to approach those criteria that matters. That's what I would like to leave you guys with.
Thank you so much. We're coming towards the end of this edition. I have a few other questions. There's a question around getting a job before leaving Nigeria. I think you mentioned that earlier, and maybe you could speak a bit about that, because we do have a number of people that have gotten endorsed from the Emigrate community. We'll be speaking about success stories from next year, but I'm really excited about the numbers we've gotten. This month, particularly exciting for us as well. But yeah, speaking about getting a job before leaving Nigeria, I don't know if you could speak a bit about that. And then someone else asked a question, can someone gain an express entry before getting a tech job? So I think we've already answered that in the session. But yes, getting a job before leaving Nigeria, assuming I've gotten endorsed, I am still in Nigeria. How do I get a job?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, honestly. Very spot on question. I got a job before I left Nigeria, but you know what? It's even now much more easier to get a job now that every part of the world work from home. All you need to do is be able to pull your CV right. Again, there's a way, there's a pattern to the CV. I would advise as much as possible, if you want to get a job after being endorsed, to consult as well to make sure that your CV is speaking the right language and is in the right structure. Now, what I did quickly is that I got a Skype number that's got a UK number line, such that when you dial it in the UK, it rings on my Skype in Nigeria's phone, and that's how I was getting interviewed. And all of the is an open market. Now, today, we've seen an uptake in the market, and even my HR was saying to me that there's because we have a lot of people moving around, there's a serious uptake in the market. There's a million job opening in the UK at the minute, across every sector. In the most in the of course in the health sector, but even within the tech sector, almost about 300,000 people they are looking for. You can't even talk about how long, because the effect of the Brexit, which of course we don't want to go into the politics, is that it created that vacuum for people, and they've said that if they could not fill up the role, they have to go into to fill it with guys coming in from EMEA. So again, it's a lot of opportunity there now. If you get your act right, get your endorsement, and you put in job, you're probably going to be getting called every day, getting about 5-6 people calling you every day for interview. It's that possible to get a job. So all you need to do is make sure that you have a line that you can be reached on. There are so many of them now, beyond Skype, that can do that. If you need that kind of advice, we could advise, because I'm in that space. There's so many of them. You can actually even get a number for Teams and download Teams app, register Teams with your tenant, get a number. As long as they can reach you, they will interview. And once they interview you, make sure that before you come in for at the time it was face-to-face interview. Now they can complete the start and finish of an interview on the phone, online. All they need is to see your face, make sure that they get the right app, and then you can actually tell them when you're coming in to get resume. So absolutely possible. I guess Mr. Paddy is having some, so sometimes we get this kind of issues where the internet is just temperamental, unfortunately. Well, can you guys hear me? Well, there's one question that is posted here. How have been trying to make an inquiry on how to get in the tech-enabled visa. How will I start? Right, in terms of the way to start, again, please go on the website, read about it. It's essential. I've just started asking people to read about it as well. You need to understand the criteria, read about it, and I'm giving you guys for free. Nigerians are getting it. Read about it. It's technicians, and once you read about it, the next thing is, before, I would advise, honestly, you probably don't want to do that, but before you start putting all those criteria together and you put your application through to Home Office because Home Office will then send it to technicians. Technicians will do their endorsement and all that. Try and get into the community or speak to someone like Mr. Bade to go through with you. It's absolutely essential because we've seen people who, another flare of this thing that came out was women in tech. And I've had friends who probably are female counterparts that we encouraged some 2 years ago to go for it, but they got denied not once, not twice, and that's because before we hear about how they put in the application, they already submitted, and it doesn't just work that way because you have to understand that these guys only going to trust your profiling. They don't know how much of experience you've put in anyway. So again, consultation is quite important.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Sorry, I got disconnected briefly, but I believe you captured that specific question. The last question for me is just if you could speak to the different members of the Emigrate community. We have about, let's say, 5 subsets, really 3, but we've sort of learned to start dividing it even more. You've spoken a bit up to the beginners, people that are just trying to start their journey in the field of technology, but you may want to speak a bit more about them, to them. We also have people who are already 4 years, 5 years in the field of technology and looking at what should be the next step for me. What are the things I should be doing right now so that I can get to the next level around, tech-enabled visa, but also around my career growth generally. We also have people who are 15 years, 20 years in the field of technology, experts, head of IT in banks, country manager in tech companies and things like that. And they are also interested in trying to understand what opportunities are out there. Let me just speak about those 3 key communities before I go to 2 others that I would ask you about. What would be your advice for each one of those communities? So everyone that has attended this open day, we make sure that we spoke directly to them and their category.
Thank you very much. And I'll keep it as short as possible. For the beginners, to be honest, I would say it's an opportunity to get your career going. I'm not saying that you probably don't have career in Nigeria, but it's a bit different from what it is out here from my own experience. Anyway, it goes beyond reading through on the internet, and the confidence there is it's for promise. That's why they are ready to support you as long as possible to come in, spend 5 years, get your career going, and then you can be anything that you want to be. And it doesn't accept anybody because, like I said, we've seen people right from uni getting endorsed into promise, exceptional promise, and coming here to build their career and even starting businesses. The beauty is that they need us as much as we need them. And so they are funding for you to even start businesses without all of the tick boxes and checks. As long as you tick the box, they'll support you. For the guys that like myself who probably have had a lot of years of experience, I can't stress more. Again, it depends on how we're all looking at it. When I had a stalled career in the banking, and as at the time I left Nigeria, if you're talking about oil and you're talking about telecoms, you talk about banking in terms of remunerations and wages. But it comes to a level where you want to also you want to be in the forefront of your career. And essentially, that's where your experience comes in. Because when I came in here, my first job, I was a senior consultant in the bank. And I couldn't have believed it because I thought that I have to come here and learn. And that's what tech does for you. It's global. It's global. Every experience that you have counts. So what I would advise is, which I did, is, do some certifications, speak to guys that can help you in terms of where is your, if you, for instance, if you're into networking, you don't want to, because traditional networking is fading out completely. It's going down the drain. You probably not have job in the next 8-10 years with traditional networking. Start looking at cloud networking, ACI as an experience, because your experience counts here. As soon as you come in here, they pay your experience. They don't pay you like you're coming in to start. They pay you your experience, and that's the beauty. And you can negotiate to say, look, if you see the kind of money I was asking for, I wasn't even anyone proud of it when I was in Nigeria. So, and if you're looking at the guys that, of course, above our pay grade in terms of, I used to have a boss, well over 50. It was actually my boss. He's here in the UK as well, managing businesses. So it's room. If you want to be CTO, if you want to be, we have a lot of guys that are coming in and doing well, even in banking operations, not even in tech. So again, I hope I cover all of that, but yeah.
Yeah, I believe you did. And then the subcategories are two. One are the people that are ready to apply immediately. What would you say to them? So they already qualify, they've already checked their profile, they are ready to apply. What would you say to them? And then a fifth category of people in the community are people that are currently either running a master's in the UK, or they are on one sort of temporary visa or the other that doesn't have settlement. And that is also a concern because they have a ticking clock that they need to get themselves sorted into a route that has settlement. What would you advise them? So people ready to apply, and then people looking for a route to settlement.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ade. For guys that are ready to apply, that you think you have you've gone through the criteria, you've read through the requirements, and you're ready to go. Again, this is my absolute advice for people. Don't rush it, because this is where it becomes very necessary to be sure that you have within the community someone that is helping you to look at those criteria. Because if you don't say, it comes at the cost, you must know. So if you're going to be applying more than once, you have to have counted or put into consideration the cost, and not even the cost in terms of money, time, and space, and the mental energy that you have to put into that. So it can easily deflate. Correct. It can easily deflate you when you put in the first and you say, oh my, this guy has talked about it as if it's one simple thing. It's not that. You've got to bear in mind that they are considering application from the entire world, not from Nigeria only. And you have smart guys out there as well from every different field. So if you're ready to go, absolutely, yeah, I encourage to do that. But make sure that you get your approach intact. And the approach is what gets you this visa, not necessarily the enthusiasm to or the appetite to do it. The enthusiasm is great. The appetite should be welcomed. I told some of the guys that I was working with some years back, and they said, oh, please help us. I did say to them that you don't say without some action. The truth is that I wrote here, the time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining. That's what I put here. And when the sun is shining is, I am ready to do it, and I'm talking to the right people, and I'm getting myself ready so that I can make sure that I do this, and once and for all, I get it. If I can get it when it was 200, when it's open, a lot of people can get into it. I haven't said that. Most of the guys that, the early adopters, so to say, the guys that got it, that are Nigerians that I know that got it in the 2014, 2015 era, were guys in the UK who probably have spent 8-10 years here and couldn't get any settlement. They went into this and they got it. as a matter of fact, if you have been in the UK and you can prove that you have traveled and studied here, you have sort of edge to get this across board right quickly. Again, that's not the drive to say you're going to get it, but you have an edge because you can actually be trusted that you've been in the system, they know you and all of those things. But I would say again, you need every help that you can get to put those documents together, especially when it comes to profiling, even if you're in the UK. But do you have a chance? The edge is there for you. Most of our guys that got it, again, I will repeat that just to make sure that docks well appropriately, are the guys who have been in the UK for many, many years, even trying to make sure that they sort themselves out. They got it, and they were well to give us the as you know, Nigerians, they got it first before telling us back home that we can have an attempt.
Yeah, and I believe that's advice to people looking for a pathway to settlement as well, and that is fantastic advice. I know I asked for an extra 15 minutes, but can I ask for an extra 5 extra?
That's very fine, buddy.
So we'll just be taking your final words, but just before we take your final words, I wanted to just answer 1 or 2 other questions that came up in terms of during the session. Somebody was asking to say, would you be able to provide documents that can be used for endorsement at Technation? The simple answer is no. We don't provide you documents that you go and use to apply. We are not asking you to pretend to qualify for this visa. We are asking you to ensure that you qualify and then go apply for it once you know that you do qualify for the visa. We are not guaranteeing you a visa either. We're just saying to you that these opportunities are available to you today. The question is that they've given you the answer script to say this is what your profile must match. Do you even have the information of what your profile must match? And then does your profile match it? If it doesn't match it today, is this something that you can work on to make sure your profile will match that in the shortest possible time? And these are some other visa types that are available in other countries as well. It's not just the UK that is also fighting for talent. However, the global talent visa is one of the ones where it's a fantastic route. Within 3 to 4 years, if you're exceptional talent, you get a pathway to settlement. But you may want to take a screenshot of this slide, particularly if you are not familiar with the different visa types that are mentioned on this slide. Somebody also asked around Emigrate in terms of how do I find the community and all of that. And then what do we do in Emigrate community? Several things, from general inquiry to coaching and handholding to say, okay, how can I qualify? Can I qualify in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year? Maximum we know of is 2 years, right? Because we do even have a program that within a 1 to 2 year period, you can actually qualify as long as you are willing to put in the work that is necessary. It is a lot of work. It's something that I hope that you did not miss from what our guests have been saying, but that work is eventually worth it as well if this is the pathway for your career. Also, in terms of application, if you're ready to apply and you need help with reviewing your documents and all of that, you can also take advantage of, for example, the 10 minutes emigrating intro, and then we do have the standard package and so on as well. If you need to do an endorsement review as well, we do have services around that. A lot of things that we do for free. Inspiration, information, all of those kinds of things are free. And we ask that please tell your friends about these as well. Don't know about this and then keep it to yourself. If you are hearing some of this information for the first time, why don't you post it on your status to say, oh, Technation visa is available and all of that. Yeah, even if you don't want to advertise Emigrate as a community, you can at least let them know that these visa opportunities are available to them. And many of those things are available today. There's a link on the screen if you are interested in any of the services, whether it's the free one or the paid ones. There's a link on your screen where you can actually apply for those specific services. One of them is the free short inquiry session, but we do have longer sessions which are around 1 hour or thereabouts, which are paid premium sessions as well. So that's just to answer the questions that some people had around the Emigrate community. In terms of the Emigrate Open Day, the first Wednesday in November, we will be having a guest who is a developer that has relocated successfully to Germany, who will be speaking to us. You'll find out more about him once that is announced. So please bear that in mind. We would also be having another session on this third Wednesday in November as well. And then the first Wednesday in December, we'll be speaking about the French tech visa. So please look out for that as well. So that being said, sir, I don't know if you have final words to the community.
Yeah, well, my final word is to let the guys know that we, for many years, it was difficult to take your career forward in Nigeria. We all got stuck in, and if you don't have the right funding from politicians, or you don't have your parents having the right funding, you probably don't want to. You can't even dare think about it. So we have a platform, is global talent, and like Buddy shared, it's across many continents of the world and many countries. So the opportunities are there. Again, if you're looking at the one for the UK, the greatest hurdle is to get your endorsement. Is the greatest hurdle. Once you can get that endorsement, everything is like. It's like, oh, when you think about visa lottery in the States, as soon as you get that endorsement, by the way, it opens all the door for you here in the UK if you're considering the global talent in the UK. What I would like to leave you with is, if that's what you're considering, make sure that you plan it. It's important that you plan it, and it takes time. So plan it, see how you want to approach it. And then please make sure that you consult with people who probably can help you to go through, because you don't want to go back and doing this over and over again. And the quote that I put here again, which helped me at the time, is that the time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining, basically, because you know about it now. Everybody's opening up. There was a time that people were coming here with a whole lot of order, and it got shut. Even the academic route that just got open was shut down by Theresa May for many years. So now is the time that you can take an advantage of this, and please do when the sun is shining. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And on behalf of the Emigrate community, we would like to say a big thank you to you. Thank you for honoring us with your time. And thank you for also sharing your experience and also inspiring the community. I'm seeing a lot of fantastic feedback in the chat as well. I'll just share my own final words to say, okay, before the final words, a few housekeeping. The recording of this video is available. The link has been posted in the chat. Usually recordings of open days are only available to our premium community. And so please copy the link of that video now so that you won't be asking later, particularly those of us that are not yet in the premium community. We do have a premium community, which we call Emigrate Circle. It's on Slack. And with the premium community, there are people that are more invested in this particular journey as well. So if you're interested in that, it's one of the services available for from an Emigrate perspective. I also mentioned a program that is being run by Bincom, which is the Bincom Global Tech Program. It's a 1 to 2 year journey taking you from starting a career in tech to building experience and then gaining the right set of exposure to show yourself as being globally attractive. It costs 1.2 million naira for the 1 to 2 year program. But the good news for that program is that the company is willing to invest in you. So you learn tech now, then you pay later, meaning that you only start paying at the point when you start earning high salary in the field of technology. Also, if you're looking for experience, so for some of us that are looking for like UK experience, the Global Tech Program also helps with that to build out your experience in the certain way where is what it is that is being looked for in the industry. It is a lot of work, please bear that in mind, but the work at the end of the day is worth it after all. Also, for those of us that are experts in the field, mentor. We do have a mentoring platform where we are asking people to volunteer their time to mentor other people that are in that are coming up in the field. It doesn't and with the mentoring as well, bear in mind that those mentoring, they are part of those mentoring sessions, they are part of what you would even submit as part of your profile as being globally attractive. If you need a coach, Emigrate Community also offers that in terms of coaching and handholding around the Emigrate Premium service, which is a way to coach over a period of time, depending on where you are at this point, up to the point when you would qualify for one or some of these visa opportunities as well. My final word is to say, please and please and please take action. Yes, you found out about these opportunities now. Yes, you've been inspired by our guests, but the truth is that you would not be different from someone else who didn't know anything about these opportunities if you do not take action. The action you need to take for some people is for you to just go read because you already qualify. It's just for you to find out what are the details of what it is. So the action some of you need to do is to plan, because as at now, it is 0/10 that you have, but within a 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year period, you can actually be 10/10. And what you need to do is take those actions now. Don't wait for 1 year and find out that, oh, they spoke about all of these opportunities, but I never actually planned. The things I was doing and spending my time on are not the things that count, and ensure that you are taking the right action. What I always say is that they've given you the answer scripts that they want your profile to match. The question is that, are you going to ensure that you are prepared for that exam of life that you have to take at one time or the other? They've given you the answer script. What you need to do is make sure that your profile matches that answer script. And that being said, thank you for joining us this evening, members of the community. Thank you. Hopefully this was insightful. And if you think it was, please do share with friends. Do talk about it. Talk about these opportunities, because many people, it will surprise you how many people do not even know these opportunities exist. And then we can take it from there. Thank you, everyone, and do have a fantastic night rest. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, Mr. Badi. Thanks for bringing me here as well.